So you wanna be the king of games, but your matches all end the same. I've got just what you need. Feel free to SMD. Hey everybody, Joseph Rothschild here, aka MBT, back with another episode of SMD, the quick and dirty way for filthy netdeckers to no-skill their way to the top of the Master Duel ladder. Today we're taking a look at Wight. But first, this video is sponsored by Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck. Looking for a place that anyone can upload Master Duel decks and get feedback from the community? Want to give opening Master Packs a try without spending real money? Want to know the gem cost of a deck before you start building? Then check out www.ygoprodec.com. Now let's wrangle with Wight. Wight, aside from sounding like an archetype that I made up as part of a stream bit, is a series of monsters that all care about Skull Servant, a normal monster older than the average Farfa viewer by a decade. As part of an ongoing joke, I can only imagine, Konami has continued to trickle out support for these cards over the last 20 years, most recently with Wight Baking, a version of Skull Servant who just wants to grill for God's sakes. Coincidentally, Wight Baking is also what my wife calls me when I'm making a puff pastry. Unfortunately, there's just no really effective way to get all these Wights into the graveyard. No way to cause a Wight genocide, if you will, in the TCG. But in Master Duel, there exists a little card called That Grass Looks Greener that solves every problem the deck has ever experienced. By doing all we can to turbo out this card, we can easily summon a 9,000 attack point King of the Skull Servants, and jam enough zombie good stuff in there to back him up with 8-star synchros and a Baylor Drock as well. So with that, let's get into the card by card. First up is Skull Servant, second up is King of the Skull Servant. This card's attack is 1,000 times the number of Skull Servants in your grave, which gets huge when you realize how many cards consider themselves Skull Servants when they're dead. Wightmare, for instance, is a Skull Servant in the graveyard and can be pitched from the hand to target a banished Skull Servant, return it to the graveyard, or target a banished Lady in White or King of the Skull Servants and special summon it. After that, we've got 3 Wight Prince. This is the glue that holds the deck together. When it's sent to the graveyard for any reason, you can bin both a Skull Servant and a Lady in White, then you can banish 2 Skull Servants and it to summon a king from the deck. We've got 3 copies of Glow Up Bloom. If this is sent to the graveyard, you can banish it to add a level 5 or higher zombie monster from your deck to your hand, or special summon it if you have Zombie World in play. Next is Wight Baking. This is the most broken piece of legacy support for any archetype ever. It's a Skull Servant while in the graveyard, and if a level 3 or lower zombie monster would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can discard it instead. And if it's sent to the graveyard, you can add 2 monsters with different names from your deck to your hand, except for Wight Baking, that are either Skull Servant or list it, then discard 1 card. Usually you can add a Wightmare in order to have some sort of hand effect, and a copy of Wight Prince, which you will then pitch in order to send more monsters from your deck to the graveyard. It is absolutely unbelievable, and it triggers when sent to the graveyard for any reason. After that, we've got 3 Maxi, 3 Lady in White, 2200 defense on this bad boy. 3 or lower monsters can't be destroyed by battle, and they're unaffected by spell, trap cards, and their effects. Pretty powerful on-field effect, but notably it's just necessary for Prince setups. We've got 3 Unizombie, 1 copy of Wight Princess. This card becomes Skull Servant while in the graveyard like the rest of them, and if it's normal or special summoned, you just get to bin a Wight Prince. This is another hand trap. If you send it from the hand or field to the graveyard, every monster on the field loses attack or defense equal to their own level or rank times 300. Now that's usually going to hurt your opponent more than you, because your monsters are all 1-star. Notably, the reason that I'm only playing 1 copy of this card is because it's so bad against Link monsters. After that, we've got 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Mizuki, 3 Shiranui Solitaire, which can be tributed to summon a Unizombie from deck. Snow is pretty good if you're milling your entire deck. Gozuki is doing its best Unizombie cosplay. Necroworld Banshee searches Zombie World, and Doom King Baylor Drock is just a free boss monster. If you have a Zombie World on your side of the field, it can negate any effect your opponent activates on the field, or banish a monster from the field or graveyard when they activate it. After that, we've got a Foolish Burial, triple left arm offering for our 3 copies of Grass Looks Greener, 1 1-for-1, triple pot, double Zombie World, double Called By, and triple Forbidden Droplet. The extra deck is shockingly tight. We've got Psy-Frame Lord Omega if we have extra monsters on our side of the field that we can go ahead and synchro off. Chaos Ruler is what we're making most of the time we don't see a Grass Looks Greener. If we do, we'll definitely have the material for Borreload Savage Dragon. We have so many 1-stars, we have an easy line from Assembled Nightingale into Zeus. Dugaris comes up frequently, and we have the material to make him with the Snows in rotation. We've got a Link Haribo, a Hauka Vibrax, a Phoenix, a Vendread Savior. This card is a Foolish Burial when it attacks, and I like it a little more than Vampire Sucker for that reason. A Curious, a Nightmare Unicorn, a Saruya, an Apollosa, and an Access Code Talker. So with that, let's jump into the game. Our match is up against Magical Musket. Now, Magical Musket is an extremely powerful deck that loves to go second, but we'll see if they change their tune after I introduce them to the power of the Wights. Our opener looks really good. A copy of Unizombie and Away to Zombie World is just where we want to be. We'll activate Unizombie and they will ash it. Oh, fool, you have sealed your fate. We'll activate Unizombie's other effect to increase its level to 4 and pitch a Necroworld Banshee from our hand. From here, we can activate Banshee's effect in order to set a zombie world, and everything is now a zombie. We'll fire off the left arm offering for a Grass Looks Greener, then we'll fire the Grass Looks Greener and 20 cards into the grave, lickety-split. Next, we're going to trigger the effect of the Wight Baking that we sent to the graveyard to add a Wight Prince and a Wight Mare. We'll pitch the Prince, and then trigger the effect of the Prince, which will send both a Lady in White and a Skull Servant. Now, fun fact, there is not a once per turn on this card, so we can Mizuki back the Wight Prince to trigger it again later. Next, we're going to banish all the errant spell traps and redundant monsters in the grave to bring back Snow, then Mizuki back a Glow Up Bloom. All we need here is any Link monster in rotation at all, and Hulk fits that bill perfectly. It replaces itself by summoning from our deck a Unizombie, which happens to be a level 3 or lower tuner. Interesting. We'll trigger the effect of the Wight Prince as well. That's the last Skull Servant and Lady remaining in deck, and let's make a Vendread Savior just in case our opponent gets any errant notions of attacking. From here, we can Synchro Summon a Borreload Savage Dragon and pass back to our opponent. Then in standby phase, we'll summon back the Baylor Drock that's in our grave because there's a card in the field spell zone. Our opponent's going to begin with a Pot of Desires. Fine, I'll Savage it. Unfortunately, they have the punish in the form of a Pot of Prosperity. How was I supposed to know that? Okay, let's just hope that they don't find anything relevant off the top. Ah, well, damn. They're going to go ahead and take that Lightning Storm, and then afterwards they're going to fire it. They'll fire the Lightning Storm and call monsters. Wow, really not correct. Spell Traps turns off my entire board. From here, we're able to activate the effect of the Wight Prince to get a 9,000 attack king, and that's the end of the game. So we're back with the deck, and even if it's not particularly competitive, nothing is going to get the serotonin drip in your brain activating more than hitting your opponent with a 1-star monster for 9,000 points of damage. Until next time, Wight power. No, wait, there's got to be a better way to...